goals got brains to match the quote. The mother of the Hoodwives, our fists no fold. Just talking love to my niggas, stay up and fold. Just bust the hands in the mouths like God is grown. We'll see the time is close, open wares are dormant. Forget the doubt, love the women in here cause they gave us clout, freedom over power. So tell me what your thought juice is, cause I bring the bottles and the truth is I'ma lay it out for all the fools here. I make it clear, 100 proof pit, ayy. Princess E money, time to cash out. Fuck commando for the shortest, hard clips out. Do a little dance, shake a little ass. I'm just trying to ask, what's your thought juice? Dun dun dun.
Period. Yes. What is up, everybody? It is your girl / boy, Iman Loren like Polo. You have tuned in for another episode of The Real Hoodwives of Chicago, a real show with hot sauce stories. I'm your host, Iman Loren. Thank you so much to my team, Chicago For Real, on Twitch. And today we are in the virtual space, and we have a very, very wonderful guest, a great friend that I've known for, I would say, almost 10 years now. Shout out to the old niggas. A wonderful, beautiful soul who stands for a lot, stands for what they believe in. Very multi-talented, very multi-hyphenated artist. I'm very pleased to announce Mohawk Johnson. Woo, 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 woo. Yes. What's up, my nigga? What's
Shit,
good?
I'm Bonnet Johnson today.
Hey, no, you're Bonnet.
Bonnet Johnson today. It's not good under here. I ain't had a haircut.
Bonnet always on?
The bonnet stays on until I switch the bonnet and wash my hair and then wash the other bonnet.
Okay, so like the mohawk stays contained in a bonnet.
It's more like a fro now. My hair got long real quick.
Do you cut your own hair?
Nah, my old roommate, who I used to live with back when I was still living on the South Side, he still cuts my hair. He's kind of like one of the only people I trust with my hair. Like, I do like identify as my haircut, so like it is very important that my hair is on point, so that not a lot of people touch it, and like I shouldn't be doing it because I don't know what I'm doing.
Yes. So your pronouns are your hair, basically.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So Mohawk.
Yeah, Mohawk, Mojo, you know what I'm saying? Like all the
Yes. Yes. How are you? I want to ask you that first.
You know, I could be dead and I'm not. You know.
Let's talk about it. You know what I'm saying? That's a lot.
Yeah, I could. You know, you know, I got arrested last summer. I've been on house arrest the entire time. They still don't have a trial date. That's really it. You know, police doxed me when I got arrested. That was kind of whack.
Doxed you, meaning like they put all your information out?
Yeah,
like,
they put my information on the internet so that white supremacists could like
what in
get
the
on there.
What in the YouTuber shit is that?
Yeah, no, the Chicago Police Department did that to me when I got arrested. Yeah. No, you go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I want to talk to you about that a little bit. Can you maybe like tell us what exactly happened? Well, tell me what exactly happened, because I feel like that was like during the protest that had happened downtown Chicago.
Yeah, August 15th. Yeah, August 15th. I got arrested at a defund ICE protest. We were marching, and police blocked our way, told us to disperse. They got violent. They were looking for somebody who hit an officer with a skateboard multiple times.
Wow.
And like, you know, I have a skateboard on me, and I got arrested, and that's just, you know.
Yeah.
You know, you feel me? Like they just, you know, like they were looking for a dude with a skateboard. An officer got hit with a skateboard. Police stepped to the protest and got violent, like they usually do, like they did in the 60s, like they did before that, you know, like they normally do. And that's the long and short of it. You know, I was in jail for like 4 days. My bail got paid immediately, and they held me for 4 days after I got arrested.
Was that a cash bail?
Yeah, it was cash bail.
I know. I just did a gig with Senator Robert Peters most recently, and I think that he did something around like allowing a cash bail or something like that. Do you know anything about that? Is there like any type of connection or anything like that?
I don't know. I just know Illinois is like one of the first states to like end cash bail.
Okay.
So if that's who that is.
Okay.
Yeah. Ooh, guess what? And this is a fun thing that's been happening. I just looked at my phone.
Yeah.
And you see I'm in my house.
I was just gonna talk to you about that. Okay.
I don't know if it's coming up on the camera or how to make it come up on.
Show us.
I might have to turn my brightness down, but I just got a text message
saying that you are not in the perimeters.
That I'm not in my crib, and like I'm literally like right here with you.
Bonnet and all. So like, no, we on live. He here. He not here.
So like you see that?
He
so
not
like
here,
you see that? You see the date and you see the time. So like, actually, now I gotta call them. Now I have to call. Now I gotta leave and call them to go deal with them.
Absolutely.
So like, I apologize for the
No, you're fine.
Yeah,
Handle your business. Handle your business, black man. All right, peace. Okay, so now that's so ironic because that was exactly what I was going to touch on. I think that there was a few moments that I was thinking about with the description that Mohawk was talking about how people were fitting the description of who were active in the protest, if you will. And that's something that I've been seeing a lot of people getting picked up based off of tattoos, off of just random descriptions. And, you know, of course I have feelings about that, but that's a lot to break down and to decipher. I think that's just like, it's bullshit. That's the only thing that I can really say about that. But that was one of the topics that I wanted to talk to Mohawk about. He's been very active about showing how 12s has been fucking with him and saying that he's not at the proper space at the proper time and that he's on house arrest. And I wanted to know what is some things that we can do to help that. How can we help promote that? I think there is also just a history of like 12s and like feds and CIA. I said it. Just fucking with high influential people who have a lot of traction around them. Also just brilliant minded people who have something to say, especially who have a community behind them. I would like to go on the record and say I ain't scared and I fear no fandom, especially not no fucking 12s. And it's a lot to break down. I was not active in the protests. I made it to the riots, unfortunately. Did not want to be there, but I got to see what was happening with the city and with the people. And my heart just goes out to Mohawk because I feel like this has been happening for some time now. And he's been very active in promoting what has been happening to him. I don't want to go too much about that. I'll wait for them to come back. But before I forget, this is a segment called What's Your Thought Juice? Dun-dun-dun. Now, Mohawk, unfortunately, does not have a thought juice, but we'll talk about that for a little reason. But my thought juice today is ginger beer and Bullet because it's good, and I didn't have Hennessy. I just moved into a new apartment, so I'm feeling very, 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 very hectic and very, very all over the place. But I thank you all so much for tuning in with me today. Happy Thursday. We are here every other Thursday. So some things that we're going to be talking about today, we're going to unpack a little bit about more of the story that happened during the protests with Mohawk and everything like that. We're also going to try to talk about some of Mohawk's interests, his arts, his what he likes to do, what makes of him, all of his kinks and twerks and things like that. Yeah, this is thanks, team. To call me an agitator just flips all the narrative on his head. Say protest accused of hitting Chicago cop with skateboard. This is actually really fucking stupid to me. I mean, I feel like there's 1,001 people with fucking skateboards. It's like, it just goes back to that whole fit the description narrative. And I don't know it's easy to say what you think that shit is rooted in. Of course, we all know what that shit is rooted in. That shit is rooted in racism and just a bunch of bullshit. But the reason why I'm having a hard time talking about it is because I just don't understand how. Like, I just don't understand, like how that is possible or how that is, like, okay, and like who makes said decisions, who makes these descriptions, you know, and also like off of what references are you getting these descriptions of people. And it's very dangerous. It's very dangerous when you are like protesting and standing up for something, standing for what you believe in. Mohawk is back in the studio. We'll get him back soon. It's very hard to like I said, to protest for something, to stand up for something, to fight for something, to be on the streets, you know, standing and fighting with your people and with your community for what you believe in. And I think that oftentimes, for me personally, I want to speak in I statements with me as Iman Loren. I've been active in protests many a times before. I think that there is something that I don't really fear 12s that much when it comes to looking at these when I think about going into protests, because, you know, my intention isn't to fight 12s. My intention is to get a message out. Hi, Ryan. My intention is to get a message, to be with my community, to be with my people, to stand for a purpose, to walk in a purpose, right? Ironically, 12s just be on bullshit. And ironically, you know, niggas gonna stand for what they believe in. And I think especially, I wasn't there in this heat of the summer, but from what I was seeing, niggas was just tired and just pissed off and just upset and just like frustrated, especially with the climax of the pandemic that we're in, and also so many marginalized communities not receiving what they were automatically supposed to receive, or not just getting what Black people were not getting what they were supposed to get and receive and have from America, from the world, we still live in a country that has not apologized for slavery. Let's start there. And so, well, I think that when I went to the protest, I wasn't going with the intentions to fight 12. So I never thought that much about that type of danger. My only type of danger that I think about is like what could happen in totality, but never think about it as like going head for head with 12s. We're getting Mohawk is back in the studio. If we can let him back in production. Yes. What's up, love?
What's good?
I was just on a rant, just trying to like process this. You know,
I wish I could have heard it.
No, I mean, like, I don't even know if I was making sense, because what I was like getting at is like, I think that as Black people, when we go to these protests, it's never an intention to fight 12s. No. It's never an intention to be in battle with 12s. You know what I'm saying? Niggas ready, of course, if it happens, niggas is ready. But I'm trying to like break down, like, how do you get to like just making descriptions and just getting all of these images out of anywhere to like, you know, fit someone for incarceration.
Yeah, I mean, in regards to like anything in regards to description, like, it's just the descriptions be so vague. I mean, you have stories like Tamir Rice where they thought he was 18 years old and like 6 foot something. You know what I'm saying? You got shit like that. I went to Columbia College, Chicago, and like, I'm not gonna mince words. Like, we got a lot of crime alerts, and every crime alert, it was Black guy between 5'7" and 6'2", anywhere between 160 and 200 pounds, black shirt. And I'm like, nigga, that's me and like 30 other people. Right. And like, when I got crime alerts like that, like, depending on how vague the crime alert was and how vague the description was, I would stay in my dorm because it was safer than like trying to go to class and potentially have another on-campus engagement with police officers trying to go to class. Yeah. Because the description is 7 inches. Yeah. like 5'7" to 6'2". That's 6 to 7 inches. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's more than half a foot. So like that's the difference between like, God, I want to say like Double D from Ed, Edd n Eddy. And like Edward Cullen. You know what I'm saying? Like the
No, I feel you.
You feel me? Like that's just
I
what are
do
we gonna
feel
do?
you.
Like
I
what are we
do
gonna? Oh,
feel
like
you.
has facial hair, has neck tattoos. You know, I got a neck tattoo on each side of my neck. So
Right.
like when I just say like, so when I hear stuff like has tattoos, has piercings, I'm just like, all right, well, I'm not.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, especially not now because I ain't been allowed outside in a year. But like before that, I'm just like, hey, guess who's not going to class, and the teacher's gonna have to deal with it because like literally that just sounds like me and like one of my homies and like one of their siblings or like one of my siblings and like. How do I get out the door from Harrison and State to like go to my class, knowing that like up the street something happens and now they're over there, and I look like.
I wanna use this as a moment of an educational source for me, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we know that racial profiling exists, of course, right?
Irrefutably, yeah.
Yes, and I think that what this scope has taught me is that in the eyes of protesting, it's way more serious. It's way more what is the word I'm looking for? It's a lot more grit to it. It's just a lot more bare bones. I feel like in a protest, it's like anyone is up for grabs, especially with racial profiling descriptors, right?
Mm-hmm.
What are like some tips or some things that like you can give me when going to a protest and how like a Black person maybe should dress, should, you know, anything like that. I hate to say that is necessary, but I kind of do see it as a necessity. You know what I'm saying?
Word. I feel you. I mean, and I could only really regurgitate what I've read because that and what I've seen. It's just wear dark clothing, cover up. You got any tattoos, maybe cover that.
Right.
Don't wear no piercings you can get hooked by because like we've seen people like get stuff ripped out of their ears by police or get dragged by stuff by the police. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we're talking about an institution of people who hit people with cars in Logan.
Yeah.
Was that Logan or Humboldt where they was hitting people with cars? Where they hit somebody with a car? Where they hit a couple? Yeah, last summer they hit protesters with cars. And you know, just cover up. You know, wear something nondescript. Try not to add nothing with no logos on it. That way they can't be like with the white Nike logo. Like, you know what I'm saying? Just,
no bright colors, no.
Yeah, like don't wear nothing that like, you know,
makes you stand out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's
keep it.
Yeah, I'm glad you shared that with me. You know, it's unfortunate that we have to think like that because like a peaceful protest is a peaceful protest. You know what I'm saying? It's really a peaceful protest until fucking 12s get involved. It's really a fucking peaceful protest until fucking 12s get involved.
Yeah.
And you know, as a Black person, we should be able to just, you know, be with our people and be in community with our people and walk down streets. Oh my Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that happened.
That is exactly what you're talking about.
That is exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah, they just ran cops just ran people over with their car, and it's like that's the institution who said I'm violent and don't need to be on the street. Like that's who said that. Like that's the same. They work for the same people. Like that's who decided I shouldn't be out in public. Those people who do stuff like that. Yeah,
that shit is actually absolutely fucking absurd. But you know, Black man, I'm so.
Pardon me for 1 second. The sheriff is picked up after I call. Yes, hello. My name is Jeremy Johnson, and I got an alert maybe 6 or 7 minutes ago saying that I was outside of my house. I was sitting on my couch on a Streamlabs call, you know, doing work when I got the thing. So like it's recorded. I was sitting on my couch when I got the alert. And this is maybe Cam, how many times this happened? Like more than 40 times? Like where I just keep getting these alerts that like I'm outside of my house when I'm at home. Like this just keeps happening to me. And the sheriff said they were going to bring me a beacon so that they could boost my signal. They haven't done it yet. They said that they might look into getting me a new monitor because my monitor is faulty, and they haven't done it yet. And I just want to know why I keep getting these alerts when I'm like on my couch trying to do work.
Well, I will definitely document that. And And you said you're definitely at your whole site, right?
Yeah, I'm at my house. I'm sitting on my couch, and this happens a lot. And like, I've recorded it. You know what I'm saying? So like, there's video of it like ringing. Like, I know a couple of people have called my leg and asked me like, I'm reporting outside of my zone. Where are you? And I was laying down on the couch, and I've recorded all of those instances. So there's heavy record, and I'm sure like if you look at my file and look up the other notes, you're gonna see he called in. He was at home. He called in. He was at home. We looked up his location. He was at home.
Okay. Well, what I need from you is your ID number, please.
Yeah, sure. I can give you my.
Okay, great. Yeah, thank you so much for everybody. I think this is like so necessary and so important for me. I have a few feelings. You know what I'm saying? I feel that like as a Black woman, as a Black queer woman, as a Black POC woman, what the fuck ever, I live in a body that's apolitic. And though, because of like all the intersectionalities of my life, and though while everything that I may say to me may not be political, I know everything that I'm saying might be taken as such. And so when I talk about things like protesting and rioting and seeing like the outcome of a close friend, it's like kind of like it feels like whiplash a little bit. And it shows that like this shit can happen to anybody. I think for me personally, in the mindset of like when I've always been in protests, especially in like 2016 or anything around that time, I never had a fear of facing 12s, you know what I'm saying? Because that was never my intention with a protest. And I think a lot of people I was standing behind, that's never our intention. Of course it's fuck 12, but like our intention isn't to fight 12s. Our intention is to get a message across with our voices and to show solidarity on what we're standing on and to fight an issue. And so when I'm in this conversation with my friend, I feel almost a little bit lost for words because like I've seen this so many times firsthand with a lot of my friends. Now that I'm speaking it out, I'm like, what do I almost say? How do I feel? How do I navigate these feelings? And I'm really looking to be educated on this moment and to let someone who is actually in it tell me what the fuck is up. And I think for me, this is a lesson to know that as a Black person, that, you know, anything can happen. Anything can happen. And it's not just up to like what I'm doing, what I'm not doing. It's never about that. That's what I really see. It's never about that. It's never about who you with, what y'all doing, et cetera, et cetera. It's never about that. It's just I am a Black person and anything can happen to me based off of the institution. Oh yeah, Lolo, you can bring him back. I was hey Mohawk. I was just trying to talk through how I was feeling. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Because you know, I don't want to feel like I should have something so political to say, you know what I'm saying? Because like, I don't know what the fuck to say. Like when I see, like I was saying, when I see something like this happening to a close friend, it shows me that this shit can happen to any one of us. You know what I'm saying? And like, even when I would think about going to a protest, like I said, it was never my intention to go against 12s, but even in that instance, something could have happened to me, to any one of us. And so I'm grateful because I'm kind of waking up a little bit. Like I'm like witnessing it like firsthand, like this shit is serious. This shit is ingrained. And also like what I applaud you on, and I want to talk to you about this with hashtag free Mohawk, right? How like this shouldn't stop us from protesting. This shouldn't stop us from being out there with our community in the streets with our people. And like maybe you can like tell us a little bit about Free Mohawk, but like that's just like how I'm feeling. Like I feel like very almost naive a little bit, honestly.
Well, I can say this. Free Mohawk was not started by me because it happened while I was in jail.
Right.
Free Mohawk was started by a Black woman that cares about me because that's
she's a hood wife.
That's who's that. When you go to a protest, you planned it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like When you go to some action, who planned it? When you see an org, who's in charge?
Yeah.
Ooh, bring the ginger ale here.
Oh yes, okay. If we can.
Yeah, my roommate bought me some ginger ale bowl. Shout out
yes,
to Cam.
this is your dodge.
Hey, you want to get on camera and wave? No, you changed. You changed. I'm kidding. You can do whatever you want.
Perfect timing.
My tummy been rumbly. You know what I'm saying?
So
I ate something I shouldn't have. It's been beating my ass. Tasted good, but I shouldn't have done that.
Yes. So this is a segment. What's your thought juice? What's your thought juice?
My thought juice used to be 80 proof to 100 proof whiskey, and I got sober, so it's just ginger ale now.
Okay now. Okay,
I had a problem.
Yeah, I wanted to talk to you about that, but we can get to that on the
whenever you want.
Okay, but I want to hear more about free Mohawk and like, cause that got some glow, my nigga. That got some follow, some traction, shall I say?
Yeah, no, free Mohawk got a lot of traction,
and it's still going, especially with what you've been posting with like showing your monitor and how 12s and feds been tweaking on you, like. Yes.
Yeah, Free Mohawk was started by a black woman. I don't know if she'd want to be named or not, so I'll just refrain. But like if she sees this, I want her to know that like I do think about her and I credit her for everything because I ain't do shit. I ain't do shit, but go to jail and like anybody can do that.
I'm sorry, that should be funny, but that's hilarious.
And like what she did was she went around and she was just talking to people and like, you know, I've been in the community for a while. And like a lot of people were like outraged because they were like, you know, if there's any nigga on the planet don't need to be in prison, it's him.
It's you. Yes.
Like if any nigga don't like beyond the conversation of abolition, because like I am anti-prison, like to the day I die. Like prisons are disgusting and they don't actually hold people accountable. They just re-traumatize people. And like you look at the turnaround rate for like people who have like gotten out on parole, and it's like, because like how you get a job when you a felon, you know what I'm saying? How you like, where do you work? How do you get a house? Like what do you do when you can't vote? What do you do when you can't vote and then people vote for people who like mess up the housing market or pass bills that keep convicts from having like other rights? You know what I'm saying? Like you get detached from your entire like political and financial process, and people have the right to like discriminate against you because you got to warn people when you have a felony. You got to put that on the job application, and if they find out afterwards, they can fire you for that. And like I know people who've been fired like because they didn't tell people they were felons and they had been out for like years, and like it was like felony drug charges and stuff like that, like stuff that ain't even illegal anymore and wouldn't be illegal now because we've changed, but like that was on a record at the time, you know. So and people looked at that and they thought about me and they were like,
that don't add up.
That not him, like not this nigga, like, you know what I'm saying? Like even people who don't like me were like, okay, I don't fuck with dude, but like he don't need to be in prison. Like
everybody loves you.
Like even you know what I'm saying? Like people just like he don't need to be in prison, and I'm just like, and that's where it came from. It came from like the organization of a black woman who cared about me very deeply and just thought like that is somebody who does not like need to be in the carceral system and who does not need to be like oppressed or traumatized in that particular way. So that happened. That's how that popped off. And what was weird was I came out of jail and I had like 2,000 more followers on all of my social media than what happened before.
Right.
I also got out of jail, and we ain't planned this at all. I got out of jail the day a song of mine was set to get released.
Okay. Talk about promo.
Right. And it wasn't something we planned because like I was supposed to be out 4 days before.
Right.
Because you're supposed to get out of jail the day you pay your bail.
Okay.
But they didn't have like a leg monitor for me or something. And then like they didn't know what
They had to hold you because they didn't have
they had to hold me. And then some of the confusion was like they didn't know where my housing was because when you drop my address on the internet and white supremacists start like hitting me up and hitting my roommates up, threatening them and stuff, and saying they're gonna come and clear them.
Crazy.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So like they had
that shit is insanity.
My whole family had to leave.
That shit is insanity. Like that shit is insanity. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the shit that like makes me feel like the way I feel. I'm like, oh, this shit is real. You know what I'm saying? Like it's easy to walk for me. I as Iman Loren, for me, I feel a little bit free just walking around as myself. You know what I'm saying? I think that I think there is some type of privilege in that, of me being a feminine presenting person, of whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't even want to break that down, but I feel like I know what I know. You know what I'm saying? And so I feel like there is like just more bounty for me to move freely. And so than a black man, honestly. I think, and I'm not saying that there is not violence that happens against black women. I'm not saying that at all.
But no, absolutely not. It's irrefutable that that black women are like the most harmed community, like, and like any intersection, like black trans women, black black lesbian women, like black, you know what I'm saying, like black femme people, like in any intersection that they exist in, on top of being black and femme, comes with violence, because of how black men have like made allegiances to like patriarchy and made allegiances to like wanting to continue to be violent and like emulating the oppressor within like our own relationships and with our own like interactions with the femme people in our community, and how much of that needs to be like thrown away and disengaged from.
I think that's where I was getting at. Like my fear of violence, it comes from men more than it comes from 12s. You know what I'm saying? So when I'm like, that's what I'm getting at. So it's like when I'm connecting the dots to like, you know, our relationship with 12s, I feel like so far removed from that. You know what I'm saying? Like I always think about like the violence between me and men before I think about the violence between me and 12s. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I feel like I walk into like protest a little less fearless. You know what I'm saying? Like, and like, not to even say that I seek protection from the people around me. It's just like, I don't depend on nobody to protect me, even in this circumstance. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so when I'm glad I got to get that, because I was trying to figure out how the fuck I was feeling. You know what I'm saying? I was like, wow, like there is a disconnect that I'm like not seeing. And especially with what I've been seeing on your Instagram with them like fucking up your monitor, I'm like, you still in this shit. I feel like you've been in this shit for a minute now.
Yeah, no, it'll be a year in August. Like it's been 8 or 9 months. And like just to like give credence to what you were saying about like the disconnect between violence and 12 and like and like the immediate violence that you deal with like with black men, like specifically, because like if black men are going to harm anybody, it's going to be like the black women they hold community with.
Period.
Which, pardon the burp, the ginger ale's working. And he got me the bold. He knows me. My roommate loves me. No,
I'm drinking ginger beer, so we're on the same way.
Hey, no, ginger beer hits. Ginger beer do hit.
It's spicy.
I can't drink a lot of it because like anything beyond ginger ale makes my face break out. And like, I have a whole routine. Like I have mass. I have a whole thing.
You better have a routine now.
Because like this has looked the same since you've known me, except this part.
Your skin is like glowing. Like you got some cheek action.
Thank you. That's the routine.
Like, you got some nice foliage, some nice roughage.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
It's a nice booty brush.
Thank you. I just trimmed it the other day. But yeah, I can't drink no pop for real. And
I'm about to cheek action.
to give space to what you were saying and to sort of expand upon it, like I've always like even being raised by a police officer, because my grandfather who took care of me and who was the man in my life for a very long time before my mom got remarried, he raised me, and like I still didn't feel safe around police because he didn't, because he was an officer and he was black. He was a black officer here in Chicago in the 60s. So they just called him nigga every day until he retired, right before I was born. So for like 30 years of his life, it was just him being in direct contact with racist police, just on the other side of it. And I think when he joined the force, in the 60s, his thing was like he wanted to be there on the street before white police officers showed up.
Yeah.
It was important for like him to be there now. It was important for him. And like to go to protest and to see like how many black cops are violent to other black people now. And I'm just like, my grandfather would vomit if he saw what you all are doing.
Yeah.
And like, if nothing else proves that like you can't change it from the inside, it's just how many black people like join the force and then get indoctrinated and then engage in immediate violence against their own people because they're told to. Because there's no like critical thought. And even and like, I guess my concern with like the violence that you may or may not be removed from or feel removed from is just like the fact that just as many black women get killed by police as black men.
No, that's what I was.
It doesn't get covered.
Yes, that's what I was feeling. Yeah.
They're like just how many, or like when Corin Gaines died, everybody was talking about like how beautiful she was, and I'm like, so when black women you don't find attractive are harmed, or when trans black women go missing, et cetera, like then what? You know what I'm saying? Like that, like who's going to speak up for them? Who's going to fight for them? Who's going to be there, you know, for them?
Yeah, I think that's where I always like distance. That's where my distance is with 12. You know what I'm saying? Like I very thoroughly I mean, I've walked down the street and black police officers try to talk to me. You know what I'm saying? And that shit like blows my fucking mind. Like absolutely blows my fucking mind. But I just choose not to engage or interact with 12s like at all. Like even in like my relationships with like men or even through violence, like I will always call, I will call your mom before I call 12s on you. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like there's this this shunning that happens when like black women call 12s like against a black man. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like very manipulative. Like, you gonna call 12s on me? Like, you gonna call 12s on a black man? And it's like, first of all, I'm not even sure they finna protect me. You know what I'm saying? I'm not even sure like I'm finna be cool at the end of this. And it's like, of course, I think about like all, like I think that's why I place fear in my protection with 12s. It's like I don't really fear them. I just fear my safety with them. And I feel like maybe like we're talking on like both sides of the spectrum, right? Hopefully, right? Like I want to I want to feel safety, but I don't feel safe from either one parties. And that's please jump in. Yeah,
no, absolutely. I mean, two, and I mean, like, of course, there are like abusive black men who like use that to manipulate situations where they're being violent, right? And you know, I don't know where I feel about this because like just being in jail, like, you know, I met a lot of people and like some people were in there because they already had a case and them and their girlfriend like had an argument. And because homie was like already like out on parole, she like called police on him to get him out the house, and then she bailed him out the next day. But like from his perspective, it's she called them because she was mad at me, and she uses that. And like, I don't know where I stand with that, because like I do know that that is something that happens, but I also don't want to sensationalize that because like that shouldn't be sensationalized because that is not the norm.
Yes.
That is not the norm, because the norm is men being abusive. The norm is men being violent because of the systems at play that allow us to be violent, and the systems that play that like where we get called out for being violent and like that stuff gets hidden or there's no accountability so that we continue to be violent. So like those things exist. But I also know that like I've seen people like have their partners call the police on them because they was mad and not because they were in actual danger.
Yes.
Right. And then in interracial relationships, that happens a lot with like people who like date white people, where that happens frequently.
No, I've seen that a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that. And like I not just like heard about it. I've like watched that happen. I'm like, bro, you need to run. Like, bro, you need to leave.
And
like,
I've seen that, and I've seen like another black woman step in and say like, "Hey, this is not happening. Like,
you're not gonna get
this is not happening. Like, no, like this is not happening." So, I think there is, I guess, nuance is a word. It's like so much nuance, you know what I'm saying? But
you know, like patriarchy is a motherfucker. Like patriarchy is a motherfucker. And what and this is what I talk about on my Twitter and like and my Instagram and stuff. Patriarchy is something that like everybody does, but that men benefit from systemically.
Yeah.
Right. Like we benefit from it systemically, but like in regards to like adherence to gender roles, like,
and I think when you say like everybody does, like kind of like that,
it's something that everybody does, or
that
like
internalized misogyny that we all,
like all that shit, like the I can make people scared of my man even if I was in the wrong because I have proximity to innocence, which like does happen, but again is not the norm.
Yeah,
because the norm is men being violent because we are empowered to do so because we live in a world that caters to us.
Yeah. And when you say sensationalize, what I hear that word is like the idea of like what a ride or die couple is. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm
right, and
like,
the ride or die.
I'm like,
no. Why you gotta die? Where you riding?
No, I don't want to die. I don't want to die.
Like, you know what I mean? Like
where are we riding, sweetheart? We don't have a car. Like, I'm sorry. Where are we riding to?
Right. And like being single through all of this and like having this many people holler at me, like I cannot tell you how many people have like found out I'm on house arrest because like I give that up knowingly.
Does
like,
coochie slide on you now?
I mean, it do, but like it's either people who were like hypersexualizing me because they think I'm violent because I got arrested, which I don't want. White women fetishizing me, which I don't want.
You just know.
People who do not communicate with me clearly.
Yeah.
And I like require clear communication. Like I need a clear, concise yes or no. I don't need a maybe. I don't need a we could see where things goes. Like I need concerted effort because I'm at a point in my life where I need consistency, especially with this shit happening.
Absolutely.
Like I need to know what the fuck is happening. And shit like that be happening, like where it's just people sliding on me like on some weird shit. But I've also been told no by like a lot of people that I'm interested in, specifically like Black women, because that's who I primarily date. And they're just like, I'm not trying to be a ride or die. I'm not trying to like hold you down through prison. And I'm like,
what the hell?
Like, I mean, valid.
I mean, that's valid. I mean, that's valid. You know what I'm saying? I'm saying that's valid, but
and it's like
valid, but
it does hurt my feelings because like that like we weren't even there yet.
Right. No, that's why I'm like,
I just asked you what your favorite Pokemon was, like that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
so you're just trying to catch it. You're just trying to catch whatever is being thrown at you.
Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're not even there yet. But like, I can also understand like to love Black men, especially like Black men who are dealing with the carceral system, like to make the conscientious decision to love us, like it's not always easy because of like the ways in which we are oppressive, the ways in which we are violent, and the ways in which we are oppressed, and how those things inform each other and like move cyclically, and then inform the ways in which we treat each other, which is why I'm in therapy, because I don't want to fucking hurt anybody.
I'm looking for a therapist.
I don't want to be hurt.
I'm looking. I love what you said. I'm very happy at this conversation. You know what I'm saying? I was very nervous a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Because
you knew me before I could drive.
I know. No, I'm saying we've known each other for a very fucking long time. So it's like when I see this happen to you, I'm kind of like just like, God damn. Like it's still hard to conceptualize. You know what I'm saying? I want to kind of divert a little bit. What have you been like doing to occupy your time? I know you mentioned Pokemon and, you know, catching coochie, hopefully, catching consensual coochie. And what else have you been doing? Have you been doing music?
I've been working on a lot of music. Yeah, I've been working on music. I wrote a poem because, you know, I don't really do poetry that much anymore.
But you used to.
I've been removed from the community for years.
Okay, I just want to give a little bit of background. So we've known each other for 10 years. We were both on spoken word teams. I was on Curie, you was on Inglewood, and our coaches were married to each other.
Yes, they were.
So we had, shout out to Mr. Stieber. We love you so very much.
Yeah.
So we spent a lot of time and seen a lot of puberty from one another, shall we say?
Yeah, that we did. Lots of puberty.
Lots of puberty.
A whole lot of puberty.
So, so you said that you just wrote a poem. How is that poem? Or like, how is your music? I really love the music that I think it was like your last album. It was I'm not sure what album it was. It was like one where you was like passed out on the floor, and I think that's like where you talk a lot about like your sobriety, right?
Oh God, that was the Relapse EP. That was my first. That was my first big project. That was
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, that was my first big project. Yeah, and I was passed out on the floor. My room really did look like that. Because I was drunk all the time.
Drunk off your shit.
And the ironic part is that right after I dropped that, I ended up relapsing the following summer and then getting sober again.
Really?
Yeah, nah, shit be happening.
Yeah. I know about sobriety. Well, I don't know shit about sobriety, obviously, as I'm drinking right now. But I used to go to AA when I was very young. I come from generational alcoholism. So it was a program I had to be submitted into for progression sake, you know what I'm saying? But sobriety is something I often think about. I think more so about my sobriety when like I kind of like to live off of like a no nut November type of thing, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But like how do you use like your sobriety like for strength, for inspiration, like for discipline, things like that? What has like that taught you?
In regards to discipline, especially discipline definitely is the big one. Because I was so out of control both times I was on alcohol. Like I was at my absolute worst. And the first time I was drinking, I was also like popping pills and shit. So I was on multiple things. I had gone to the psych ward like 3 times. I was in and out of like rehab programs, you know what I'm saying? Like it was rough. And then I had cut it out for a while because like I was staying with a family member and they like didn't have alcohol in the house. And there was no strict rule about not having alcohol in the house. Like nobody explicitly told me don't buy no alcohol. But I was like, I don't know. I ain't trying to get kicked out the crib. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to not. And the first time letting it go really taught me that I was capable of stopping. And it really put me face to face with like how much of an asshole I was. Like it really made me. I'm like, damn, I'm mean.
You never know how fucked up you are.
I don't respect my boundaries or anybody else's. I just say whatever the fuck I want to people, and I'd let people say whatever they want to me. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't listen. Like you know what I'm saying? I'm not the best version of myself, and I'm sure like you've seen that up and down because I'm sure you've seen me at my best. I was
gonna say like I don't recall none of that. I don't recall none of that.
I mean, and a lot of that was just like I was just separated from like the community.
Okay.
Like the poets and stuff, because like I was off dealing with that.
Right.
So like I was over here, like dealing with that.
No, because
Yeah. No, go ahead.
I was gonna say because like what I remember is like when I would run away a lot and like how like you would like always offer your crib up to me, and that was just like I just always remember you just being on point and reliable and consistent and trustworthy. And so when I would listen to your music and when I would hear how much sobriety meant to you, I'm like, wow, like I don't remember this person. And like I see the same person that I've always saw if you take that respectfully. You know what I'm saying?
No, I do.
Take it as a compliment as such. Like
no, I do take that as a compliment because like the teenage boy you met is more true to who I've ever been than like anything I did or said or got done to me or was said to me when I was drinking. And like, you know, and part of the drinking was like, you know, I had stuff going on at home. Like I had beef with my family, my immediate family, you know what I'm saying? Like we was fighting all the time. And then like I was dealing with Columbia and like I almost got expelled twice. Once for like my academics dipping because of the drug use. And once because like a teacher like tried to tell me that like Becky was a slur against white women, and I went out in class. So like some of that was me, some of it was racism. Low-key, all of it was racism because academia is white supremacist and its current standing. And that's not like people shouldn't be educated, people shouldn't learn if they want to, because absolutely people should. Just fundamentally the systems at play are white supremacist ones. And
come on, it's like talk to me.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like that shit just like I can't thrive in a system where they literally didn't let me know how to read for several hundred years. Like, of course,
I dropped out of school.
like, of course, black people like struggle in academia. Like, of course, so many of us like look at smart niggas and we go, they acting white, because like our entire association with academia has been like prohibitive by whiteness and by capitalism.
Also, not to mention that like we were going to school in an era of Rahm Emanuel, so that was
yeah. Like I graduated. I graduated right before he pulled that bullshit.
No, I was still in it. I was still
there.
Like
in
it. I was still in it. Like I was still in it. But
yeah, because you was like a sophomore and I was what, a junior?
Yes.
I was like a junior when we met.
I think. Well, no, a freshman for sure.
You were a freshman. I am like 2 years older than you.
Yeah, I was a freshman. I like what you said about like this whole like academia thing and like how like niggas get teased for being white, et cetera, right?
Mm-hmm.
I wanna go to like some brighter notes, right? Because I feel like a lot of the interest that you're interested in, and a lot of the interest that Black people are interested in, used to get bullied for being white things, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like music, like dancing. Well, not even dancing. Well, a type of dancing, shall I say? Skateboarding, Pokemon, video games, anime, et cetera, et cetera. How do you feel about that? And I mean, those are all things that you like are so fucking good at, because that's what I really want to talk about too.
Yeah, I think in regards to anime, because like that's what most of my tattoos are. I didn't really get picked on for anime being white because it was literally Japanese, so it's not white. Like, if we want to have the conversation about like Japanese imperialism and how they treat other Asian people like on the continent, we can, but like that ain't my business. Like, that's not something I should be speaking on. It just I acknowledge that it's there. But like but like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't get picked on for that. And one thing I do remember about like some of the bullying that I got is that, one, I used to speak like a fucking telemarketer. Like, I ain't know no slang. I had no drip. I ain't speak nobody's vernacular. You feel me?
Not a telemarketer.
Like, you know what I'm saying? So like, I sounded like I'm trying to sell you car insurance over the phone for your ripstick. Like,
we've been trying to contact you about your car's insurance warranty.
That's how I used to talk. So you dig? So like I you know, so like and like I also like, so like I used to get roasted for that, but like I also like remember being anti-black, like believing anti-black stuff and like believing misogynist stuff and like believing like homophobic stuff before like I started coming to terms with like where I was with sexuality. Because like now, like I don't know what I am. I just like who I like.
Period. And that
just is what it is. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's a bit more fluid than that. Than I think
it
changed. And I just and I feel like how much of that was about my interests and how much of that were I had these interests, and for people who I was anti-black too, those interests were a red flag, because a lot of people who do that stuff also think this way politically and vote this way and act this way. Because like and like then the conversation becomes more complicated, because like I've been to like rock shows, you know what I'm saying? I used to sing metal. Like I used to sing metal in a metal band before I started rapping. And like a lot of them gigs, like, and a lot of those shows and a lot of those spaces were like very like flagrantly anti-black, not only to me, but like to other black people around. So like, of course, black people would see that and go, oh, that's white people shit. And then I'm a black guy doing it. So like, of course, their only context for that was that. And I think with the nerd stuff, like, of course, when the bulk of TV only portrays nerds as either white or Steve Urkel, you see that. Or when the education system is like flagrantly white supremacist, like people make those connections. And even like the way we use language, because like even when people do the whole I don't speak white, I speak properly, what does that mean if you speak a European language and your barometer or your metric for what proper is a white one because you were colonized into this language?
I think people also don't give themselves enough credit for being liaisons of language or for being the creators of a language, considering how many how much etymology is like naturally instilled in us. Like everybody damn near says finna now. You know what I'm saying? My mom used to like slap me around for saying finna. What the fuck is a finna? What's a finna? You know what I'm saying? Now you got damn near every, like, it's so natural, and understand that comes from fixing, and that comes from, you know, slave language. You know what I'm saying? It's naturally ingrained in Black people, and, you know, in how we speak and how we evolve and how we understand each other. So to almost discredit one person's way of speaking is also to almost discredit your way of speaking, I feel.
Right. And I think like, just in regards to like my own relationship with language, like I'm less involved in saying somebody talks white to invalidate their Blackness.
Right. Yeah.
Because I think a lot of the conversation that like children were having, or like the way we took it, was like invalidating somebody's Blackness, or all they ain't Black. But like, if I hear somebody that talks like Candace Owen or Ben Carson, I am going to be guarded. I just use language differently to articulate. So my first go-to is not going to be they talk white, because some of this is about like language barriers.
Yeah,
too.
and it's also not even like so much of like how a person is talking. It's like, or like how they choose to like formulate their words or sentence. It's literally about what the fuck they're saying.
It's about what they're saying. It's about the energy. It's
the
just
energy.
Like, you can hear a person talking. You can tell that they like. I hear some dudes talking. I'm like, you don't date Black women. You only date white women. You don't date Black women at all.
Don't get me started on that.
Right, like you hear that, or you could look at, or like they had a joke about like Tia and Tamara's bob. And you could tell which one of them only dates white dudes by the type of bob they got, and like that's petty as hell, but they're not wrong. Like, they're not wrong. And like, for the people who were telling me like I acted white, it's like, yeah, that hurt my feelings. Yeah, I felt like my Blackness was invalidated, but also, yeah, I was literally anti-Black growing up in high school because of like the respectability politics that I used to engage in when I was a teenager. Yeah. So yeah, like I did. Okay. Like I want
to get your opinion on one thing that I think is white. Okay. And then we'll get some of your Bandcamp information, like, you know, put it out there. You what's your opinion about furries?
Furries? I mean, furries.
No.
Ooh.
No, fucking no.
I don't like furries, but like I don't. But like I'd have met some nice furries.
No.
I don't know how I feel about furry. You know, I'm gonna be real with you, because like growing up, I watched a lot of Digimon, right?
No.
And they sexualized the hell out of some of them Digimon.
Oh, that shit makes me cringe.
So, like, it was uncomfortable, but also like I understand where they're coming from when you draw Renamon like that. Like Digimon Frontier, like why'd you draw Renamon like that?
No.
Was it Frontier or Tamers? It was Digimon Tamers. Like, why'd you draw Renamon like that? Like, why'd you do that? Why'd you make her thick? Why'd you do that?
I'm gonna be very mad at you if I ever see you in a Fox mascot.
No, like, see, and that's the thing. That's not something I want to do. It's just something that like I understand and respect from a distance. And like the furry community is so weird that I can't decide if it's white people stuff or not, because like
it's up to grabs. You know what I'm saying? It's up to grabs. And like, we don't king shame over here, but just don't be a furry, period. I mean, where can we find you at? What do you got going on? Like, drop your Bandcamp, all that. Like, you know, tell us how we can find you, how we can support you.
Word. Well, y'all can follow me on my Twitch at twitch.tv/Mohawk Johnson. And the Mohawk is actually spelled with 2 V's instead of a W, like my Instagram. Because there was another dude on Twitch named Mohawk Johnson. And I'm like, well, I can't do that. Twitch won't let me do that. You can follow me on my Instagram. If you type in Mohawk Johnson, I'm probably going to be one of the first people to look at. You know, support my Bandcamp, you know, bandcamp.com/Mohawk Johnson. When you buy my music from Bandcamp, or if you cash at me directly, like if you just want to hit me up and ask for my cash app, like I will send you music directly, and then we ain't got to deal with like the fees, because they take like 10% out, which isn't that bad given that Spotify gives me less than 0.5 cent per stream. Because Spotify's egregious, and Apple Music, like people be like, I bought your music on Apple, and I'm like, I don't see none of that. That don't do shit for me. Like, I don't see none of that. I don't see none of that.
Well, Okay, so we'll make sure to follow you for all of that. But I want to thank you so much for being here. Free Mohawk as always. Y'all have tuned in for another episode of The Real Hoodwives of Chicago with Iman Loren and Mohawk Johnson. Thank y'all so much. This is The Real Hoodwives Chicago, a real show with hot sauce stories. Thank you, team.
Thank you for having me.
Alrighty. First sound check test of the new voice recorder.
The new cell phone. Good afternoon, Chicago.
Good afternoon, Chicago. All right.